Okay, guys, here we have a setup for the main Armageddon scenario, and this setup takes into account the start in 1939. We'll zoom in on the map in a moment to show you some details. I would like to first of all focus on the broader areas. So here we have the map of most of the world, let's say of Europe mainly. Here is Germany. You can see with those black cylinders more or less where there are the borders of Germany. In blue, you have a control of the Western Allies. You don't have red at this moment in time. We didn't set it up. Yeah, there is no war with with the eastern part. Here we would have a year track and turn track. Here we would have a sequence of play, very nicely showing us who is taking decision in a particular moment. Here we have place for markers. Here is the resource track. Here are replacements, directives areas. Here we'll be discovering the projects, the fanatics track, unrest track, our force pool, and also the potential satellites, paratroopers, and attitude towards US and USSR. So this is how the map looks like. Here additionally we have a prestige points. At this moment in time we have 5 players, starting each of them with 5 prestige points. We don't put yet the factions here. Here you have a small agenda. For example, these are plains, this is rough terrain, these are rivers, these are fortresses. So you can see various colors here. And you see, if you put the marker here, you still can see the terrain with a small dot next to this. Okay, let me zoom a bit so you can clearly see a little more on the map. Okay, so I hope this zoom will allow you to see better the areas of interest for us at this one time. And let us talk a little about the control. The markers, those here, the black ones are showing the control of Germany, the blue ones showing the Western Allies control, and the red ones will show the Soviet control. How to read it? If you look at the area is fully controlled by the Germany if they are in the highest number of areas. So, for example, in Poland, if they would have it here, that would mean that they control this area fully. The Allies would control the area if they would be in the lowest numbered area of this region. That simply shows us that whatever is higher or equal to where the Allies are is controlled by them. Whatever is equal to German position or lower is controlled by them. It's pretty intuitive. You will see that all areas to the east are 1 to 3, so they are growing in numbers from Germany. All areas west from Germany also growing in number 1 to 3. So for example, if Germany is in Calais, that means they completely conquered this area. They would have a control marker here, and it will be showing also that they have control here and here. You could potentially use, of course, markers here, but that would be too many markers and too many components for this. So this is a pretty elegant way of showing how the things are done here. If you have control markers from both sides, like in Poland or southern France, then the area would be disputed, as it is here. That means that simply both sides will be vying for control of it. I was not setting up everything super correctly because I wanted to focus on what we'll be showing with example of play. And I would like also to draw your attention to the political situation we see on the map. There are 2 disputed areas which are potentially the sources of a conflict, of future conflict. So this is Poland. You have 2 generals von Rundstedt and von Bock deployed, and 5 regular armies. You see that Stettin is occupied by Germany, it's part of Germany. Krakow, Warsaw is in Poland. Similar situation in southern France. We have von Loeb, and we see that Metz, Marseille is under the France control. Frankfurt is of course German control. You have 2 regular armies and 1 weekend. You can see also presence in Hungary. This is of course simplification of the game. Hungary, but you have Prague here as part of Germany. You have Yugoslavia and Vienna as part of Germany. Here you have Munich. Yeah. Here are the connections, the land connections between the areas. So this is how does it look like at the beginning of the game, and this is how the whole concept of areas work. Just remember, this is the Germany, and the further you go, the more control you have. And these are the allies. They go like from here. So allies always control whatever is equal or higher to where their marker is. Germans always control whatever is equal or smaller than where the marker is. I think we are ready to start with the initial setup and initial part of the game. So let's move on. In the command deck of his player board. In command part is here, as you can see. Yeah. Then we have OKW, head of OKW. So this is resolves ties, responsible for the political and military directive. You can see may play reorganization of the high command. Also may overrule other players' decisions at the cost of increasing vulnerability, unfortunately. And of course, prestige points at New Year equal to half of the fanatism value rounded up. Then we have head of production. Head of production responsible for the production table and production directive. He will be choosing the one to implement. And also a strategic warfare segment. He gets prestige points +1 for every victory in strategic warfare and +1 prestige point for every advance in the project track, so mainly the production area. Last but not least, head of operations, responsible for planning, placing the replacement and the movement segment. Also, he is awarded prestige points for successfully completing military directive. So in case there is some military action planned, he is the one to make sure that things are going well, and then bear fruits from this, of course, because that's also the most important part of it. So this is what possibilities we have here, and as I told you, this will be changing from turn to turn. After the first turn, in which all players will be secretly bidding, the one with the least points will be choosing one of those cards. Then the next one, up to the one with the maximum number of points, or the largest number of points, will be getting the last card. After reorganization, it will look slightly different, but let's not go that way, at least not today, for this, let's say, brief overview. Now, so let's assume that all players has their bids. They should start the game with a prestige on 5 here. So let's assume, just as per the rule book example of play, that player 1 bids, let's say, 2. So he has 3 prestige. Player 2 bids 3 points. And the other 2 players does not bid anything, but they will need to roll a die and then resolve the ties with a die, and we'll be doing it in a moment. So what will the player who spent most take? Player 2 would like to get OKW. This is one of the most powerful cards, so definitely he would like have to OKW. Now we have player 1, what he would like to take. He plans head of personnel. Some plans probably to put generals in command and then bear fruits from this. Now, with those 2 guys, we have a following situation. We have similar number of prestige, so we would need to roll a die. Let's assume that we rolled a die and the player 4, for example, rolled higher. So he will have the first choice to take somebody. He will take head of operations. And we place it here. And of course, the third player now has no choice. He spent the least and rolled the worst, so he is getting the head of production. Two more things will happen on those player maps before we move to the main map. As you can see, here are the general markers, and some of them are on the map. Actually, von Lepp is army group commander in southern France, so we put him in command here. Then we have von Rundstedt, who is at this moment in time army group commander in Poland, and we have also von Bock, who plays similar roles. So we move them here. The player 4, our head of operations, has all 3 generals here available because he has none of them at this moment in time on the map. And that concludes the setup of our game. Now we are fully ready to move to the actual turn. As said, I will briefly go through some most interesting parts of this, show you the flow, show you the mechanics, and then we'll conclude this overview. So bear with me. Okay, guys, we are back to the main theater of operations. I hope you can see the map clearly. We'll be now moving through the sequence of play. So it's 1939, it's fall, we have one operations phase and one administrative phase. So administrative and operations phase. Now, in administrative phase, we have following things to accomplish. In the operations phase, we have following things. I will be going through them in a moment. What I like is a clear guidance, what follows what and who is responsible. And for example, we will be starting with the bombing of Germany. We will be evaluating by the head of production. Yeah, you always have somebody who is responsible. And just to remind you, our head of production is player 3. So he evaluates the effect of the bombing of Germany. At this moment in time, the German control or air navy over Germany is 5 maximum, so there is no effect. This is a positive thing. Nothing happens. Replacements are not removed. As you can see, when it's getting more and more severe, like -1 replacement, -2, -2 replacement plus 1 unrest, -2 replacement plus 1 unrest. So we'll get more and more severe effects for the first element in the administrative phase. Okay, so now we go to the next step in the sequence of play. This will be German reinforcements, and this will be done by the head of operations. Our head of operations, just to remind you, is player number 4. And for the reinforcements, replacements, we have them here. At this moment in time, we have one Wehrmacht replacement, one Luftwaffe, and one strategic warfare. Maximum you can have 2 at this moment in time. You can see here, this 2 shows us what's the maximum. And what decisions shall we make? First of all, one replacement for Wehrmacht will go to Poland. One regular army will be replaced with one Panzer army. The replacement for the Luftwaffe will also go to the Eastern Europe, will increase air naval control here. And the strategic replacement, yeah, we are utilizing here in the strategic warfare. We are increasing it. We cannot go further because, yeah, this is not yet discovered here and unlocked. So this is it in this phase. Now we would have very interesting phase of directives. Because we don't have satellite replacements, we can simply skip it. And for the production table, one thing with the production table, so here, this is also head of operations. He can play with it. He can decrease for example, the consumer goods and increase some replacements. It's not good to do it too early in the game. It will impact the unrest, the fanatism, and at this moment in time, it actually can be also overruled by the OKW lead. So let's not touch it. We leave it like it is. Then we go, yeah, this was production table. Then we have production directive, political directive, and military directive. The last three things in the administrative phase. Production directive is, of course, decided by the head of production. And for the production directive, these are the case of production directives. We look at the directives from 1939. We can see both of them. What we see here is production cost 1. And if you look at our directive production, military directive, we can have 1, political directives, we can have 1, production directive, we have production of 1. This is the production which we have per turn and which we can use to implement the directive. If directive would have cost 2, we would not we could not afford it. So we have 2 directives. We have self-responsibility of industry, pretty cool long term. The prerequisite, the fanatism is 2 or higher, is fulfilled. It decreases fanatism, but it increases resources. Still, the fanatism is OKW had a source of prestige. So if head of production would like to choose it, OKW can simply overrule him, veto him. The second one, type VWC submarines, it increases the strategic warfare track, the technology marker on this. So you know what? Not to risk being overruled by OKW head, this directive will be implemented. So it will increase the technology on strategic warfare track. So this is the production directive implemented. Now we have political directive. We have political directive and military directive being done by the OKW head. This is the deck. We have 3 for 1939. We have diplomacy with Romania and Bulgaria, we have diplomacy with Italy, and we have diplomacy with Hungary. Because we have only one, let's say, one resource in production for the political directive, we can use only one, and it will be Hungary. Hungary, because it has the largest chance of being successful. We will need to roll 3 and plus, it will be positive. Poland is occupied. We don't have this modifier. Romania, Bulgaria is neutral. Yes. So this will be +1. And Romania, Bulgaria is an axis satellite. No. So we would roll, and the roll is, let's say, 4. Okay. So +1 is 5. So this directive passes. What happens in this directive passes? The Hungary becomes the German satellite. That way, we are first of all following a couple of things which will have to happen. Let me read them loudly. First of all, Hungary is German satellite, so we put the marker in the alignment box. Second of all, the disks move here to Debrecen. That means that now Germany controls this area. Third thing, we need to put the army, the satellite army here. We put it here, and one army in the first pool for Hungary. Yeah, so it is here. And also, if you look here, OKW gets 1 prestige point. Our OKW is player 2, so player 2 gets a victory point, a prestige point. Nicely. Last but not least, the military directive. There's only one for 1939. This is Fallweis. We have 1 pound in area 1, so it is here. And besides this, the season is not winter, yeah, that's true. The objective is to take Warsaw, and then in case of success, we'll get 1 Wehrmacht replacement, and prestige points will go to army group, to OKW lead, to head of operations, and fanatism will increase by 1. So we put it here just to remember, because that way we just concluded the administrative phase. As you can see, we went through all of this. It's pretty quick once you know how to play it, to go through this. It will get the turns will get a little longer once you have more points for directives, because you may play more military, political, and production directives, and especially about some of them you would probably discuss at the table. So guys, after small pause, we will move to the operation phase, and we'll start with a strategic warfare. Okay guys, it's time to go through the operations phase. So this part of sequence of play, we'll be resolving it one by one, and we will start with a strategic warfare, which head of production, in our case head of production was player number 3, will be resolving. What do we do? First of all, we draw a combat card. So we have a combat card deck. Here it is. And we draw the first card. And we look at Western faction, because it's attack on the Western faction, and at the strategic warfare, which is this column. We'll be checking the number of die. So this, we can see that there will be 1 die for the Western allies, and we have a strategic warfare now at 2, which means we would have 2 die. And because we increase the technology by 1, one of those dice will be gray, if I remember correctly. So you see those submarines, which we implemented with a directive, really help us. And let us assume that we do a roll. I will actually do the rolls as they are in the example of play. So let's say 1 hit here and 1. Let's say we have such a roll. So 2 die on the German side. 1 is gray because we have technology at 1. We have 2 because our strategic warfare is at 2. And we draw the card which shows that there is only 1 die on the Western allies. You see, in 1945 there will be 5. It will be painful here, believe me. So what that means? That means that this result, that if there were US in the play, it would be a hit. You can pretty quickly check it in the player 8. Here, combat resolution and strategic warfare. Yeah, strategic warfare. This would be 1 hit. This is if US is at war. Not at war, no effect, and it's also no effect. And Axis faction, this is hit, and this has no effect. This would be drawing a strategic event. So if Axis hits bigger than Western hits, air naval control in Western front +1. So we air naval control in Western front goes +1, and then we have head of production +1 a prestige point. Our head of production is number 3, so he goes to 6, I believe. Yes, nice. So this was a strategic warfare. Then we have the movement part, and head of operations will be doing the movement part. First and foremost, I think we would like to have more forces in southern France, because this is disputed area and the Western allies might want to attack. So we can move this army from here to here. We don't need to leave anybody here, it's neutral, so there is no way will be attacked. This is operational movement. There's a possibility also for the strategic movement. Strategic movement, we have 5 points of strategic movement, because we have 5 in air naval segment, and potentially we could move 1 army from here to strengthen it even more, because we hope that it will be enough to fight in Poland. But if we have less than 5 armies, we will remove 1 block here, because there will be not enough armies to have 2 army groups generals, and that might not play well with our OKW player 2 is OKW leader, because von Bock is his general, and if he is removed from here and Fallweiss goes well, he would not get prestige points, and he does not like it. So definitely we will not be doing the strategic movement in this case. Then we have a command segment. This is done by head of personnel. Not much will be happening here. The number of generals on the game board is correct. So here we have 4 armies, 1 general. Here we have 5 armies, we have 2 generals. Yeah. So this is correct. Yeah. So don't need to change anything. There are no question generals. No. The general who's in question. Sorry, let me show it to you. He might be removed from the post. Yeah. If he was questioned. There are no vacancies markers on the game, but so it is not necessary to resolve any appointment. Now, something you were waiting for, I'm sure. So the Axis offensive segment. And this is being resolved by OKW, of course. And yeah. Now it's up to head of OKW to place Axis combat pawns on the game board. We already placed it earlier because there is no other option. This 1 pawn is placed simply in Poland, and we will be executing the Fallweiss. So attack on Poland. Now, how do we go about it? First of all, again, at the beginning of the battle, we draw a card. And we would like to see what will be the defense of the Western Allies. We look Western faction, we look defense, and we see how many dice they will use. They will use 2 die. So let me get them. I'm already prepared. So this is what we have. Just let us put it as a reminder. Now, the head of army group in the combat area must be activated. We have 2 heads of army group, but von Rundstedt is of a higher seniority. It's 10 to 9. Von Bock is 9, very high too, but it's von Rundstedt who will be activated here. Now we need somebody called leading general. So 1 general, von Rundstedt, is of course in the I would say in the charge of the whole army group. But he's not fighting at the front. At the front, we would have a leading general, and each and every player can nominate a general. The seniority resolves dice, and actually, player number 4 has the highest seniority general, 8, Walter von Reichenau. So there is no other option that somebody else will be able to outbeat him. So he will be a leading general for this attack, and he has a very nice for this particular case combat bonus, because in the battle against Western Allies or Soviets, and this plays in any terrain when Germany is attacking, and Krakow is plain, so it will be to his advantage. But here's the controlling player may re-roll 1 die in the allied combat roll. The new result must be applied. So this is really good. Maybe we'll be able to avoid the hits. Yeah. So you put this leading general in the leading general section of the player mate. Let me show it to you. Will not be moving camera. So you see, we put him from here. And now we continue. So we roll for the allies. We rolled a tank and a bomber. A pretty decent roll. And now we will be rolling for Germans. And of course, those 2 die comes from here. Remember, not that card. It was not that card. Where I did put it? Never mind. Here I put it. Sorry. So this comes from here. This 2. And now the Germans. They have 4 regular armies and 1 panzer army. They do a roll, and they rolled this. It's pre-arranged for the ease of the example of play. So what do we see here? And of course, we have one white die because we have the control here. We actually, during the movement phase, sorry guys, during the air movement phase, we moved from here to here to have one more die. Forgot it, but we could also do the air movement, which helps us. So actually 4, 5, 6 die. So this is the roll for the Germans. And now we'll be calculating the hits, but before this, we have, of course, as a leading general, Walter von Reichenau, but we have also Rundstedt in commanding the army group. So this is attack against Western allies in planes. Yes, it is in planes. So he can add one hit to Axis combat roll. So both generals, the general who is in command and the leading general, will be adding bonuses to this fight. Yeah, nice. So this is +1 hit. And von Reichenau, a reminder, can reroll one allied die. So let me reroll. So we reroll this one. And for the sake of a presentation, we rolled this. What is it? This is the combat event. So we will have a combat event. How to calculate now this combat event? We are getting the combat event from 1939. There's only one. In later turns, you would have many more, so we'll be drawing. And it's a city bombing. Cancel one hit from the allied combat roll in this combat. Wow, that's tough on Polish people. Yeah, really, unfortunately. Now, based on those roles and situation and special abilities of the generals, let me bring them here. We will calculate the final total number of hits. How do we do it? This is 1 hit. This is 2 hits because the fight is in the planes. This is 1 hit. This is 1 hit, and this is 1 hit. This is no effect. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus 1 additional from the Rundstedt 7. Now, as for the allies, sorry, we actually rerolled. We rerolled which one? We rerolled the plane. Let's leave it like this, yeah. So we rerolled the plane. So we have 2 hits here, but because of this, we have 1 hit. So this is 7-1. 7-1 is an overwhelming victory. What happens? We'll have an advance. So the western disc is being moved 1, and the German disc is moved to the Krakow. Now, there is an option, and of course, the leading general is for Reichenau, and for Reichenau is controlled by player 4. So player 4 will get a prestige point. Yes, he will get a prestige point for this successful attack. And the army group leader is controlled by the player 1, so he will also get a prestige point for this successful operation. Now, there is a possibility to advance once again because of this victory. Yeah, but we would need to reduce one of the armies. So we'll reduce the Panzer army to the regular army, but what we can do, we can move 1 more hex. And that is the sad situation when Poland is conquered, and yeah, we should not put it Soviet control, we should put it, of course, here, the German occupied. Okay, so this is it. This goes here. Yes, and that actually concludes the German offensive. We will see what the Allies will do, because I am pretty sure they will have some surprise for us. Let me move back the generals. They were for the presentation purposes only. We can also take it from here. So we have Western offensive. Okay, there are no landings, yeah, because the landings would be first if in this offensive. Okay. So what will happen? One thing which will happen, and this will be here, and here we would have a fight. Because there are no Axis controlled areas adjacent to Western controlled areas, as seen above. Although we have here Belgium and France, yeah, this is neutral at this moment in time. Okay, still there is a possibility to fight, and we'll fight in southern France. A red pawn. Actually, a blue one would be better, most probably, but the example of play says a red pawn is put here. And what will happen? First and foremost, we draw a combat card, and we look here. And now we look at the Western allies and look attack. So they will roll 2 die again, but they will also have a special effect here, and we will need to take this into account. Combat sector is Frankfurt, okay, and Frankfurt, I believe, is a river terrain. Yeah, it's a river terrain. Okay, the only head of army group here is von Leeb. Yeah, so we have him here, and now we also need a leading general here for this battle. The players will be now we have a couple of generals with similar seniority, and two of them being pretty high will need to be decided by OKW. Let's say that we are getting Strauss, and let's say that we are getting Licht. So let me show them to you. So those two were presented by player 2 and player 3, and of course player with OKW will decide who would be the leading general, and yeah, we will do the as a leading general. Okay, we will move it to the proper place on the board. List is chosen because he would benefit from the prestige points. So we will choose the list as a leading general, putting him here again. Let me show it to you. So he was here. We put him here. And his special ability will not play because it's only against rough terrain attacks, unfortunately. So it will not play. Okay, now special effect. We had a plane, special effect, so we need to roll a die. Let's say that we roll event again. And this is a no effect. Why? Because the deck of events is already empty, so there is no more events. So that's most unfortunate in this case. Now we roll for the Western allies, and let's say that we are getting the star and the plane. And the axis will also be rolling, and yeah, let's say that we have this one hit, one event. Yeah, let me prepare it for you. And by the way, as a third army, let's say that we have another. So how now to calculate? Before we calculate the results, of course, we are looking at special abilities of both generals. That and that one. This will not be applied because this is a rough terrain, but von Leeb is attacking any terrain. Draw 2 combat cards and choose one for the current combat. Shuffle the other back into the combat card deck. That's something interesting which he can do. Yeah. Okay. And this would be nice if Germany would be attacking. So actually, guys, we don't look here at the terrain, but also at the way. This is attack, this is attack. So still learning the game. Okay, so the number of hits obtained. The Axis has one hit, there are no events, so this is nothing. Okay, and this is for a total of 2. The Western Allies is 1 hit here, and the air naval marker is moved from 2 to 1. So they are getting some bonuses here. Still, this is a victory for Germany. And there are no retreats, there are no reductions, nothing happens. John is controlling the leading general list and is awarded 1 victory point. So John in our case is player 3, so it's here. And the head of army group is not getting the points. Why? Because this was a defense, and defense, sorry, is not the thing we would like to give a prestige for. When you have a Soviet offensive, nothing happens, and then you have military directive objective check, and this is very important part, because you know what, guys, the fall vice played really well for Germans. Yeah, Warsaw is conquered, so we have Wehrmacht replacements +1. Let me move them immediately here. Very important, really very important thing happening now. And then we are getting the victory points. Army group +1 here. Every head of army group in this area, and we have 2. We have Rundstedt and von Bock. Rundstedt is player 1, von Bock is player 2. Player 1 here, player 2 here. Okay. And then what else happens? OKW will get 1 more point. OKW is player 2. Then head of operations is getting 2 points, and head of operations is, I believe, player 4. So he jumps here. Nice. Last but not least, 1 point is added to fanatism. So fanatism is also increased. And this is end of a fall vice resolution. Yeah. So this was really beneficial for the German war effort. You see, they moved to the east, both Hungary and Poland. Poland in a brutal military way, Hungary in a diplomatic way are taken over by the Germans. There is no supply check, everything is okay. The areas where German armies are controlled by them, or in case of Frankfurt, they are Festungs, they are simply supplied internally. Victory check, there is no automatic victory at this moment in time. None of the players have at least 20 prestige points, more than the lowest prestige points player. So we can move to the next turn. What happens? We move through operations. I should move it here when we get here, of course. So we move it to the winter administration phase. First of all, New Year phase and 1940. This is what would happen. I will not be going through the full New Year phase. I will be pausing here. One thing which will happen during this turn is also getting additional points for the sections of the high command, like New Year, 2 points for every general card in the in command deck of this player, board up to maximum 4. So in this case, the player number 1 will get 2 points for Rundstedt, and then Player number 2, who is OKW leader, will get equal to the half fanatism value rounded up. In this case, it's 2, another 2 prestige points. Let me give it to them. Let me show you how it is. So they go here. Then you would have head of production for every victory in strategic warfare segment, for every advance in the project table. So nothing during New Year's. And head of operations, completing military directive card. So head of operation is also getting 1 more point, I believe. Yeah, he already got it. So does he? And okay, we also should give the points for the generals who are leading here in France. We should not forget about them. So for von Lepp, an additional 2 points here, and also Reichenau for the 4, and also von Bock we did, von Rundstedt we did. And also Reichenau has a special rule, one prestige point to the controlling player in the New Year's phase. So this is that guy. And did we actually give all the possible victory points? Okay, no, as a head of the personnel, we would have also the points for this guy. Yeah, we didn't do it. Okay, just checking if everything. Okay, more or less this is how it plays. More or less this is how you sum the points. And now, of course, at the end, at the beginning of a turn, you will be getting new generals, and you will be getting once again this high command cards. So what will happen now in New Year? Again, it will be changing. Then in 1942, when there is reorganization, you will be getting also the agendas and the factions. So the game will start to getting more and more interesting. I think you can now have a grasp of how it's being played. So you see the internal politics, you see the external politics, both diplomacy and military segment. The game will get only more and more interesting. So believe me, really worth checking. Okay, guys, that's all I have for you today. This was a preview of the other side of the hill, a game by NAC Wargames. Very interesting take on the internal politics of the German High Command during World War II. I hope that you have now enough information about the game concept, about game design, rules, components, and also the gameplay, so you can feel how it will be developing further. I strongly recommend familiarizing with more materials on the Kickstarter page. I really like this concept. It's not an easy subject to tackle, that's for sure, that's definitely true, but very well thought out. As I told you, reading the designer notes, reading the rules, checking the details of the game, I'm really fond of it and would love to play the full campaign with 3 of my colleagues, probably once the Kickstarter is successful. So can't wait to get it. This was a preview copy, but still the components already now today are beautiful, so can't wait to see the final product. It will be gorgeous, and can't wait to have a possibility to bring this to the table. That's all for today. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for watching this. Kindly please give a thumbs up if you like this video. Kindly please subscribe. Every subscription is important for such a small content creator like the Board Games Chronicle. Please feel free to use the comment section for your opinions, for your questions, for remarks, for any message you would like to leave. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.